Hello YouTubers, today we're going to do another how-to video. This is something simple in welding. I've got a bench grinder that I want to get mounted to a stand. I went down to the local used parts and I needed to buy a spare tire rim for my pickup truck, and while I was there I picked up a big heavy-duty Chevy truck rim that I'm going to use to make a stand for the bench grinder. First of all, what I done is I took my torch and I heated up the areas where and burned all the paint off the rim where I'm going to be doing welding. I'll take a wire wheel and I'll clean that metal up real good. I've got some other parts that I've cut. I'll show you what I mean. Lay this down flat. This piece of tubing right here is going to be the stand-up part. It just goes right into the center of the hole, and this is just extra metal that I had laying around from other jobs. I already took a wire wheel and I cleaned up this part that I got that I could put right here on the inside. Just put it flat up against the square tubing. Just fit it down on the inside and you'll be able to weld it. I'll show you that in a minute. Here's what this other piece of scrap looked like. I try to repurpose as many things as I can. This has got old paint on it and everything, and I'll take a wire wheel and I'll clean it up before I weld it in there. Now what I did is I took this wire wheel that hooks up to my air compressor, and all I did was clean up this part of the rim on top where it's kind of curved, and these pieces of metal that I wire brushed off will fit right on top of there. And when it fits on top of there, it'll also come right up against the square tubing. You just put one on both sides, and then that way you can weld the brackets to the rim and weld the angle iron right to the 4-inch square tubing. Right here is basically what it's going to look like. You've got your 4-inch square tubing in there. Okay, there's the top. It goes down through the center of the hole, and you just put a bracket on each side and just take and butt it right up against the tubing. You can weld right across here, and then right down here you can weld on both sides, and weld right here in this area on both sides, and you'll have the start of a pretty solid stand. Try to get it tacked in as many places as you can on the corners of the tube, and then you can go ahead, once you do that, just make sure that nothing moves out of place, and you can go ahead and weld the angle iron right down to the rim. now that you chipped off the slag off the weld, and you got it all tacked down good, just clean it up a little bit with a wire brush, and go ahead and weld it where you think you need to weld it. You can weld it up the sides. The strongest part of the tube is always going to be on the corners, or I'm just going to weld straight across the tube. I don't think it'll hurt anything. This isn't a big project, it's for a bench grinder, but I just wanted a good heavy duty base to it. Turn it around now to the other side. Get my ground clamp around there. For those of you who are new to welding, don't be afraid to do a little project like this. The only way to really learn is to do it. All you have to do is do it. Doing a project like this doesn't have to take a lot of time. Matter of fact, they're calling for rain for this afternoon, so I'm trying to hurry up and do the video and do this. Just got a little Lincoln welder. It welds AC, DC, plus and negative. Let me show you. This is like the next step up from regular AC Lincoln welder, which they call a buzz box. Some people probably still call this a buzz box, but I can do a lot more with this than you can just an AC machine. I'm using 7014 rod, and because it seems to work well with not only new metal but older metal that you clean up. Let's see if I can zoom in here. Now that to me doesn't look like a bad weld. Looks nice and clean, so we're gonna go with that. I had some 2-inch angle left over, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to weld it on to the tube here. Now I'm going to take it and I'm going to put another one on this side. I haven't got it clamped in place yet because I want to see how this one turns out, and then I'll clamp this one in the same place. The base of my grinder is 5.5 inches wide by 7 inches long, and this will give me plenty of room to mount it. now that I got the second bracket on there, I just want to make sure that it's square. Make sure that this one is up the same height as this one. I want to make sure that the mounting surface is the same. Make sure it's square. This will be the front of the grinder, so I just got to make sure this is square. I'm worried about the back side. Now, if you noticed, I raised these up a little more than 1/4 of an inch so that I could go to the 2-inch angle and to the post. Well, let's go ahead and get this welded on here. Good. Knock the slag off and see where we're at. Okay, now we're going to hit the wire wheel. We're just going to clean it up a little bit. Now the only reason we done that is I want to make sure, the reason I raised this up is so that when I put the weld on there, the weld isn't sticking up over the mounting surface. If that makes any sense to you. Now you can see with the 2-inch angle iron that I put on here, it made it wide enough because the base here is 7 inches across and it's 5 1/4, 5 1/2 going from front to back. So I cut the brackets at 6 inches long. This is a 6-inch bench grinder. That left me about 1/4 inch on each side. All I have to do now is mark the holes, drill the holes in the angle, and get some 1/4 inch bolts and mount it down. Just mark your holes, center punch where you're supposed to drill. Start out with a smaller drill bit, like an 1/8 inch, and then work your way up to 1/4 inch, whatever size mounting bolts you're going to use. I couldn't find a 1764 drill bit. I know I have one, but I couldn't find it, so I went with a 9/32 drill bit. It's just 2 sizes bigger than the 1/4 inch bolts that I'm going to use. It'll work just fine. Well, now that I got it mounted, I decided, since I found a little piece of 1/4 inch rod laying in the shop, that I'd make a little hanger for the electrical cord. And you can probably see it right there on the back. All I did was I put the metal in my vise, I bent it into shape, welded it on there, and wrapped up the cord. So for any new welders out there that don't think that they can do something, just go ahead and give it a try. You'll never learn without trying. Thanks for watching.